Thank you, Matt. My name is Arturo Préstamo. I'm an executive chairman and CEO of Santacruz Silver Mining. Thank you for having me here this afternoon.
It's good to see you, Arturo. Right. I guess in a very positive, frothy silver market, people are very keen to work out where to deploy their money, because I think a lot of silver companies have become sort of cash stranded. Troubles down in Mexico, etc., with regards to understanding the political scene. We've talked in the past about balance sheet issues with Glencore, Trafigura, etc. I'm keen to see how you've kind of moved things along this year. So maybe we start with a quick catch up on your Q3 numbers, and we'll take it from there.
Absolutely, Matt. I mean, operations are going in line to our budget. This Q3 we report around $78 million in revenues. We report around $16 million in EBITDA, and actually a very strong balance sheet after the restructuring of the Glencore agreement that has put us in a very strong position. And we have been out actually improving our balance sheet quarter over quarter. As you might recall, we still don't have bank debt. So our only debt today is with Glencore technically, and a little bit with Trafigura. We have been amortizing the Trafigura original $17 million facility, the one we used to buy back then, the Zimapan mine. Now we pay them around $3 million in October, and now we technically owe them close to $4 million, which should be paid over 3 years with around $115,000 a month, which is very manageable by Zimapan. So other than that, we have the $40 million payment to Glencore in November 1st, 2025, which we're, in very good shape to make that maybe even earlier if we're able to get, let's say, a discount for an early repayment. We'll do that at the moment. So we're in good shape and very excited to see how the mines are performing at this moment. We are now achieving efficiencies also in Mexico and in Bolivia. So very excited about the time today for our company.
Okay, so Trafigura is down to, well, like I say, negligible amounts per month the next 3 years. And Glencore, explain to people, perhaps need to study this $40 million is for what again? And what does it give you?
This is the consideration payment, the cash consideration payment for the acquisition of all the Bolivian assets, right? There are two components into the payments to Glencore. One is the cash payment, which is the $40 million, or it's $40 million, or we can choose to pay $10 million every year starting November 1st, 2025, with an implied interest rate of 15%. But very likely we might choose just paying the $40 million on or before November 1st, 2025. And then the second component is what we call a conditional value right, where zinc needs to be north of $3,850 per ton. And at that moment, the payments start kicking in, which are capped at $1.3 million on a monthly basis, and up to $77 million for the full amount. So that puts us in a very comfortable position. In addition to that, with the restructuring terms, we now keep the value-added tax that we are starting to collect. Value-added tax, it's around $58 million. So now that those monies are going to be for our working capital purposes, we have also eliminated the NSR that was meant to be paid on a yearly basis. Just to give you an idea, it was a 1.5% NSR across all the Bolivian assets, which technically was around $8 million on a yearly basis. So we don't have that anymore, and also we're keeping around $9 million from the inventory that was left at the time that we closed our purchase agreement. So that being said, with the only two payments, the cash consideration and the CVR payments, we are in a very good position. So that has been definitely one of the let's say most important changes in our balance sheet, which has translated to a very strong balance sheet together with a strong cash generation that we have been doing over the last years.
I think it's quite interesting, Arturo. You seem to be sort of cleaning up the balance sheet, which I think is good news. You kind of with the Trafigura, the Glencore situation, but you're not at that point. It felt like you haven't been at that point to be able to actually kind of create free cash flow to actually spend on additional exploration, to spend on upgrades, etc. So you kind of, I guess, like it's like someone's like clearing their credit card debt. We've got to that point where you're on top of it finally, to release the potential from the assets that you've got that are certainly the producing and the developing ones. So but you have been helped significantly by an increased silver price. One assumes that comes with increased margin, but so that's something that's out of your control, which you're benefiting from. Are there things that are in your control which are also driving that margin now?
Well, that's a good point, Matt. Definitely, we are on a literally weekly basis reviewing our cost across all of our mines, and also trying to achieve efficiencies. Just to, for example, on Q3 we just announced our financials, and there's a line there on the MD&A that you might notice where we have switched ore coming from Caballo Blanco. We're sending that ore now to San Lucas, the trading company. And the reason for that is that we have noticed that vein, that Reserva mine, certain veins at Reserva mines, they blend better with other material, with other ore, different from the other two Caballo Blanco veins. So that, just changing that process, it's allowing us to recuperate 5% more silver just from Caballo Blanco. So those are the kind of efficiencies that we're working at the moment. The interconnection ramp that we did from Reserva, from Tres Amigos and Colquechaquita mine last January, that's also part of the efficiencies that we're achieving. Caballo Blanco is today our, let's say, lowest cost producing mine. And the reason for that is that interconnection ramp, and also this just recent change on the blending of the material, of the ore, right? And similar projects are undergoing, for example, in Simapan, the level 960, where we are now arriving. We have two inclined shafts, which one of them might be coming into production in a few months' time, and that would allow us to have some efficiencies and cost reduction at the same time, right? So we're doing certain works or having certain initiatives across all of our mines, especially to achieve better production costs.
So it's kind of interesting. So there's some things there which are just you moving ore to different places. So these aren't expensive fixes to problems. These are just trying to look at efficiencies, which are, I guess, most efficient use of capital, until you kind of work out how you deal with the, finishing off this kind of balance sheet issue. But what are the things that you want to do but can't yet because of the money is spoken for? But when you get the money from this production that you think you'll be able to do, which will dramatically change production profiles from each of the assets?
Well, at the moment, Matt, with today's metal prices, we're really building a good, we're experiencing a very strong cash flows. We're building a good and strong treasury. Just from Q2 and today, we increased a little bit more. From Q2 to Q3, we increased a little bit more than $11 million on our treasury. And as we speak, we have built another $5 million. No? So we're north of $20 million today in our treasury, and we keep building it. But at the same time, we're making some investments, like in Q3, for example, you saw our all-in sustained cash cost increased a little bit. And that was mainly because we renew almost all of our underground fleet and equipment at Zimapan Mine, just to reach better efficiencies and to prepare for next year budget, which calls for a stronger and a solid, stronger production than this year. So we're preparing the mines for the long term, and also investing not only on the underground equipment and machinery, but also in the developments of each of our mines to reach and achieve more efficiencies.
Yeah, like I guess I'm being greedy here, because I'm looking for, are there things that you can do in the future once you've kind of either chosen to pay up Glencore one lump sum or however you chosen to do it, where there's a step change, right? Like a meaningful step change in the production profile. I'm forgetting that it's actually quite hard to run a mine and hit targets, right? Normal targets as well. But do you see where I'm getting at with what do you do with the cash, and what are the things that you think you're going to be able to do to drive growth, not sustained but incremental?
Well, organic growth, we have, for example, we have the Soracaya project in Bolivia. That's a mine that it's a brownfield mine. Back then Glencore built a PEA, and the PEA calls that mine for 4 million ounces of pure silver production on a yearly basis. So there we have a mine that we, with a little bit of investments, which we are not planning to do this year, but maybe next year, we can take that mine into production. It's fully permitted for production of 500 tons per day. So that might allow us to keep growing organically. And also, just a strategic move in San Lucas, for example. Today, San Lucas runs its ore on different campaigns at your mills. You have, remember in Bolivia, you have 3 milling facilities. So San Lucas use technically 1 week a month of each of your facilities, right? So of the 3 milling facilities. So technically, San Lucas is using milling facility from your own mines. So our idea is to eventually get a new mill. We have identified some alternatives so that San Lucas can process its own ore without the need of using your mine's milling facilities. That will immediately liberate time for your time and milling capacity for your own mines to process. That should give you at least the same amount of ounces that San Lucas is today producing. On a quarterly basis, it's around 1.2 million ounces of silver equivalent. So down there, just by doing that, you immediately have another 4 million ounces to grow organically, right? So we do have certain initiatives, and we're working towards achieving them. Hopefully next year we can get something, consolidated in that front.
Interesting. Okay, it's potential doubling. Yeah. Okay. That I understand. That's organic. It's going to be the cheapest, most efficient use of capital, for sure. But when you start looking around the landscape at the moment, there's some pretty big silver transactions happened, in the last 3 months, in the billions of dollars, and I think with Crux, Silver Crux, etc. It's people have got excited about silver again. It seems your share price had a reaction in the market. It's been a good year for you guys. Do you remain sort of cautious about the way that you step forward, the way you tread going forward, because of the you still have some of this overhead, there's some of this debt which you're in position to pay off. Are you cautious of what the markets can do, certainly with when silver isn't involved, in terms of that erratic behavior? Would you feel that's more confident about silver now because of the industrial usage people throw at me now? How do you view the silver landscape? I guess what I'm asking.
Well, I'm definitely bullish on silver. I do believe that it's been forming a strong and a very solid floor at today's level. As you well point out, I mean, more and more industrial uses are coming for silver. I mean, not only the solar panels, but many other for environmental and pharmaceutical uses. So I think that the industrial use for silver keeps growing, renewing. It's not like coal, where you renew most of the coal that it's on the market. Silver, you lose always around 30%, which cannot be renewed. So you always need new ounces out of the ground. So I think that the future for silver is promising, not for a few years now, but for many years to come. So that we've been preparing the company for that, and I think that our investors will see a strong company very soon that will take advantage of today's metal prices.
Okay, I think what you seem to have demonstrated is the market is you can come into sort of difficult situations and work your way through it. You talked about the need to renegotiate agreements and contracts. Was that easier to do in a difficult market?
Well, it's like everything, no? It was not easy, but it was also, let's say, something that from a business point of view, it was very enjoyable in the sense that dealing with Glencore, they are a group of very professional team. Very, I mean, my experience with them has been really positive. I can only speak highly about them, and we enjoy the process. We actually, of course, everyone is looking for the best of their interest and their investors. So there are strong people to deal with and very smart people, but at the same time very good people to deal with and to work with. So I think from our end we can only speak highly about them, and it has been, because they are our partners here still today. So it's been nothing but I have only gratitude to the whole process and was handled.
Right. I like I say, I guess both sides have got to be pragmatic, and Glencore have got a lot of projects going on around the world, so I guess it's worked out well for you guys. If I look at very quickly at Mexico, obviously AMLO's gone, Claudia Sheinbaum is in. Positive views from people sitting up in Vancouver and Toronto about what that could possibly mean. What can you tell me? I feel you're a little bit closer to things on the ground. Is Mexico going to open up for silver companies now?
It's Mexico. Sorry, Matt, can you repeat? Is Mexico going to...
Oh, sorry. It is... Sorry, let me ask again. Yeah, okay. So, okay. Let me ask you a question about Mexico. AMLO has gone. Claudia Sheinbaum is in. It feels that the CEOs that I talk to in Vancouver and Toronto have got a very positive view about what the future holds in the ability to explore and mine in Mexico. You're a bit closer, I suspect, than some of them. What's your view about the ability to actually operate and do business in Mexico now? Well,
I'm Mexican, so I definitely feel comfortable in my country. Claudia Sheinbaum, our president, it's a very smart lady. She has a PhD in the environmental and an engineer degree, so she's a smart lady, no doubt. And I think it's early to see where she's going to be driving matters more so related to our industry. But I feel comfortable that the reason will be the driver of good decisions, especially for our industry, as I was pointing out. So I think it's early for me to say, but I feel comfortable and I'm optimistic that this could be a good 6 years term of presidency for for the industry in general. No,
I hope so. We hope so. Okay, so I guess my takeaway here is that organic growth is the forefront of minds. Clearing up the balance sheet is forefront, and continuing to deliver against guidance. That's what we're looking at. We're not talking the language of M&A.
Actually, we, for the first time now in October, we filed the resource estimate under 42101. And one of the reasons, of course, is that our investors get to know their mines in a better way. And more so, that will allow us also to be able to give a guidance next year in terms of production and all-in sustain and whatnot. So we're excited about the guidance that will be and that we're working for next year, and hopefully we'll be giving next year a guidance of production and all-in sustain as well. And I think organically we have a lot of homework to do and to keep growing, but we're never close. We never close our doors to opportunities that can add value to our shareholders, especially in the jurisdictions that we feel comfortable working at. So we don't have nothing in the radar today, but always open to review and consider alternatives if they are valued to our shareholders. Definitely.
Well, Arturo, congratulations on this year. It's been a strong year for you guys. I'm excited to see what you're going to come up with for next year. Stay in touch with us. Let us know, especially with that kind of organic growth profile you're talking about. Appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. No, it's a pleasure for me. Thank you for having me here, and absolutely we'll be in touch, and excited to keep you and your audience posted about the development of the company. Thank you for having me.